Hello everyone, welcome to RAGS, welcome to another interesting tutorial with me Krish. So in this video we're going to talk about how to create a realistic PBR material in real quick. So first things first, let me get into it directly. I'm going to open Maya. You can use your Blender or 3ds Max or any other softwares. So all that I need is I just need a single plane, and I just want it real big, something like this, or maybe a bit bigger, and I want it to be densely populated. I want the mesh to be a bit closer so that I can it's good to use displacement maps. So yeah, so this is a floor, so I'm going to export it, export selection, and I'm going to export it to my desktop. Let me create a folder, PBR, yeah, PBR material. Yeah, so floor, right. So let me get back to my Unreal Engine here, and let me create a new folder, PBR material, right. So I'm going to import the floor that we created. So actually I'm not going to use this floor because it's not that densely populated, and it's not it's not smooth. So in order for the displacement map to work properly, we need the mesh to be densely populated. Let me show you real quick. Import, right click and import, import to game PBRM. So go to my desktop and import my floor. Yes, so import it, just import it. Right, clear, yep, okay, right. This is the default material Lambert one, which got assigned to the floor in Maya, so I just don't want that. I'm going to create a new material, so delete that. Yep, force delete. Yeah, so you can see this small star symbol, which means it's not saved yet, so just click save all. Yep, save selected. Right, so let me drag and drop it in here, and let me scale it. I just want to place it right next to it. Yeah, something like this. Let it be there. Now the reason why I created in Maya, reason I created the mesh in Maya is go to lit and change this to wireframe. You can see this is the default floor that was created in Unreal, and it has very few mesh, so it has very less number of polygons, which is not suitable for using displacement maps. So I want it densely populated, so I want one which has more number of polygons in it. So let me go ahead and select the original floor and delete it. Go to wireframe and lit. Yep, move it to the center. Just place it at the center. Just change the location to 0, 0 and 0. Yeah, right. F to zoom in. Yeah, right. We're all set now. Now let me go ahead and create a new material first. Right click and create a material here. So I'm going to name this as M underscore ground. Right. So just double click on it, and you should see the material editor open. Yeah, so this is the material editor. So this is not going to be a deep dive session on how to use materials. It's just going to guide you, real quick on how to create a realistic PBR material real quick. Right, so here we need a couple of things. Let me take my notepad. Yep, we need base color, and we need the metal value, we need the specularity value, and we need the roughness value, and then we need a normal map, and then we need an I guess we need a displacement map, and then just in case, if you can get an ambient occlusion map, it's good. If not, also it's fine. Yeah, So these are the things that we need here. So we need to create all these things. There are two ways that we can create this. One is, first we need to find a proper texture. So here I have one particular image. You can just go ahead and Google it, and get an image of whatever whatever your preference is. So I have just chosen this image. I just want to create a realistic material based on this image. Go to Photoshop, and you can just import this image into Photoshop, right? So this is your base color. So by default we have the base color ready, and the metal value we are just going to use a solid constant value, and we're going to use a specularity value and roughness value also as a constant. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a normal map and displacement map, right? So what I can do is, if you're using any Photoshop version, I guess any CC versions, you should be having this option under filter. So select the layer, select the image, go to filter, go to 3D, and click generate normal map. So click on it, and it's just gonna take a couple of seconds, right? So here you have the normal map generated like this. You can just adjust the values here if you want it to be a bit more sharp and depth. I'm just going to change the value to medium to 50 and high to 80, so you can notice it's getting really intense. So I'll keep like this. I'm not going to make it smoother. I don't want it to be very subtle because I'm going to adjust the value of this in Unreal. So let it be harsh. So click on OK, and Control Shift S and save this as. Here you can notice I've saved it as T underscore, which means texture, and so I'm gonna save this one as a normal map, so N underscore, because naming convention is really important in Unreal. So N underscore, which is your normal map. Click on OK, save, and just save it. Let me undo this and go to image, adjustments, and desaturate it. Right now we're going to use a displacement map. Go to filter. When you're creating displacement maps, you don't want to have very high detailed ones. Go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. So make the blur, let's say 10, maybe 5. Yeah, 5 is good. I just don't want the hard noise to be there. I just want everything to be, it shouldn't be highly detailed. So just click on OK and Control Shift S, and I'm just going to save this as D, displacement map. Right, click on save, click on OK. So we have our normal map and our displacement map ready. Now let me go to this one, material editor. So let me just drag and make it a bit smaller. Now right click, import. I'm going to import my textures. So displacement, normal, and texture. Click on open, and texture map, when it says N underscore, it is imported as normal map. So just click on OK. Now what I'm going to do is drag and drop my material inside, right? So here I have my texture material here. I'm just going to drag and connect this to the base color, right? Now I'm going to drag and drop my normal map here. So drag it and connect it to normal map, and then the final thing, displacement map. I'm not going to work on displacement map right now. I'll work at the last, right? So when it comes to PBR materials, these three things are really important. There is a metal, specular, and a roughness map. So I'm just going to use constants here. So right click on it, and I'm just going to click on right click as constant. So just select constant here, and I'm just going to insert the value into metallic. Right now the value is mentioned as 0. So in PBR materials, the value is either completely metal or it's completely non-metal. So either it's 0 or 1. There is no 0.5 or there is no gray value. So it's either 0 or it's either 1. So stone or the ground is actually non-metal, so the value is 0. So I'm just going to copy and paste the same one, Control C and Control V, and I'm just going to drag and drop it to specularity. So maybe I can increase the specularity to 0.2, something like that. Yeah, that is good. Let me make it a bit large so that you can see it clearly. Yeah, so you can see the specular values here. Now again, I'm going to copy and paste it, Control C and Control V, and this is going to go in roughness. So the roughness value is right now 0, but I want, because the ground is usually really rough, you can notice it's not really rough, it's kind of shiny. So I'm just going to increase the roughness value to 0.8. Yeah, something like this. Right, so now let me have it like this. Let it be like this. Now I'm just gonna drag this material and drop it onto the floor. Now you don't see any changes because we haven't saved the material yet. So apply. So that is going to apply the material. Yeah, this is good. Now I don't see much of changes in my normal map here. I don't see any much changes to this thing. It just looks really flat because the normal map isn't working that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the intensity of the normal map here. I'm going to increase the intensity of the normal map here. So what I'm going to do is right click and I'm going to use power node. So click on power, take this here, and I'm going to multiply the values of this thing, the normal map, with a constant. So which technically means I'm going to increase the power of this normal map. So right click, constant, and drag and drop it into this exponential value, and now drag this RGB into the base channel, and now I'm gonna take this power node and plug into normal map. Now by default I don't see much of difference, so let me go ahead and bump the value of power of the constant to 1. Yeah, still nothing much. Bump the value to 2. Yeah, it's getting better. I'll increase it to, let's say, 10. Still I don't see the value boosting up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this value of normal map using another constant. So select this, change the value to back to 1, and I'm going to just copy and paste it here, and I'm going to use a multiply node. Yes, multiply node, and connect the constant and the RGB value, and then I'm going to attach the multiply node to the base channel here. Yes, now I'm going to increase the value of multiply to 10. Yes, and increase the value of the base node to 10 as well. Now let me click on apply. Yes, yeah, now you can see a few differences here, but I'm not really happy with the result here because normal map just it just creates an illusion of it's actually the surface is having all these ups and downs. But what I can actually do is, this is where our displacement map comes into place. So let me drag and place this properly. Now let me drag and drop my displacement map. This is my displacement map. Drag it into the material editor. Yep, and let me make it big. Place it aside. Yeah, so this is my displacement map. So in order for the displacement map to work, we're going to use this channel called tessellation. So in order for right now, this material node is actually tessellation is disabled. So select the material node and scroll down, and you would see this option here, no tessellation. So I'm going to use this as flat tessellation. So enable flat tessellation here, and you can notice we've got this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect the displacement map to world displacement here, right? We don't see much of a difference. That's absolutely fine, because we are actually just directly connecting it. So I'm going to disconnect the displacement first, and I'm going to register the initial vertex position. So what this displacement map is going to do is it's going to move the vertices ups and down. That is the reason why we have a highly high number of polygons, highly densely populated mesh here. So that is the reason. So first let me right click, and I'm going to use vertex normal. You're just going to use this coordinate one, which is vertex normal WS node. So click on it, and this is your this is like registering the initial position of your vertex normals. So I'm just going to multiply vertex normal and the texture here. I'm going to add them together. So right click, multiply. So from the vertex, multiply the vertex normal and the displacement map here, right? So we have it ready. Now let me plug this one into world displacement map. Still I don't see any much difference because we haven't adjusted the tessellation multiplier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a constant value. Yes, constant value, and I'm going to plug this one into tessellation multiplier. So this is going to be your tessellation multiplier. So I'm going to increase this to, let's say, 250. Still we don't see much difference. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is just place it aside. Let's just quickly comment this. Select the normal channel nodes and C, and just name this as normal, and this is going to be texture, and these are metal, roughness, and specular values. Yeah, so this is our displacement. Yeah, just organize it properly so that we don't get confused. So still we don't see the displacement map occurring here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the initial value itself. So add a multiply node and let this be here. I'm going to add another constant value here. Yes, add another constant value, and just connect it to the B channel, and connect the displacement map to the A channel, and then connect the multiply node to the multiply node here. Yes. Now increase the value of this constant to, let's say, 10. Yeah, I think we are able to, we're starting to see the differences now. Let me increase the value to, let's say, 50. Yes, that's really cool. So we're starting to see the results. So I'm gonna change the value to, say, 20. It's too much, so reduce the value to 20. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, it looks interesting now. Right now there is one other important thing that I want to change. The value actually we have used in tessellation is kind of too much, like 250 is like too much. The reason behind is it's not actually understanding the original scale of the object. So this tessellation factor occurs according to the scale of the object. So we need to register to the material, we need to make the material understand the value of the scale. I mean the value of the scale of the object. Yeah, because how big the object is. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to type in as object radius. Yeah, so I'm going to use this coordinate node, which is object radius. Select this one, and this is going to be multiplied. So I'm going to add another multiply node. What you just need to do is we just need to make this object radius registers like how the vertex normal registered the initial position, that is all the vertex normals were flat. So this actually registered it, and after that it just got multiplied according to the displacement map. Now similarly we're just registering the object size, that is object radius. Initially, so I'm just going to use multiply. So this just registers the object scale, or the object radius. So multiply node and select it and connect to the A channel and connect the object radius to the B channel, and connect this one to the world displacement map. Yeah, now you see it's actually really bad because we have given the constant value as 250. So let me change this value to, let's say, 10, and let's see what difference it makes. It's still more, so change the value to 1. I guess it's still more because I think the displacement multiplier is actually 20. So let me change the value to 1. Yeah, now we're getting the value there. So change it to 0.3. Yeah, 0.3 looks good. Let me change the value of this tessellation factor also to, let's say, 0.5. So we have the displacement value here. Now the reason why we actually made the displacement map as a bit blurry is because if we have a lot of noise, it's going to affect the every single vertex here. So that is the reason. Now I think still I can reduce the tessellation factor here. I think I can make it to 0.2. I don't want it to be much, very harsh, right? So we have the displacement map ready. So click on apply and let's see what happens in the ground here. Yeah. Right, so you can notice it's not flat, it's all moving the vertex up and down, and it's actually displacing the whole mesh itself. So I'm gonna change the value. I think it's really harsh, so change the value of the displacement multiplier. You can actually rename these things. So I'm going to right click and convert this to a parameter, and I'm going to name this as displacement multiplier, and I'm going to change, right click and convert this into a parameter too, and I'm going to name this as tessellation multiplier. So yeah, these are the two values which we are actually going to adjust. So displacement multiplier, change the value to 0.1, and since we have converted to a parameter, give the minimum value as 0 and maximum value as 1, and change the tessellation multiplier also, minimum value as 0 and maximum value as 1, and I'm going to change the scalar parameter to 0.1. Click apply. Let's see the effect. Yeah, it's quite less, but still actually you can see there are small noises here and there, and also the image which I have selected is not that good, so that is the reason why we see a little bit of pixelation there, but that's okay, that's absolutely fine. Just if you're seeing it from a distance, it's not going to be that noticeable. So I'm going to go to Photoshop again, filter, blur and Gaussian blur, make it a bit more blurry, maybe value of 10, and click OK, and just save it to displacement map, replace the displacement map, click on S and click on OK, and I'm gonna re-import. Yeah, you can see the difference now. I think that's enough, but I can just go ahead and change the displacement tessellation multiplier to 0.03, and just click on apply. The whole thing just got displaced. I guess the normal map is affecting a little bit, so let me change the power of this normal map to 1 and click on apply. Yes, and let me change this one also to 1. Click on apply. Yes, I guess that looks good now. So I think that's it for this session, guys. So you can just go ahead and play around with these. I guess the only reason we are seeing a little bit of pixels here is because of the texture image that I've used. But that's absolutely fine, no issues. You can just use a better resolution image. So save all these images and everything. So save selected, and I'm gonna save this scene as sample. Yeah, click on OS. Initially, if you just take a look at this, it just looks a bit confusing. But if you just go through it one by one, it's just really simple. So just in case if you have any other questions, you can just comment down below. I'll be happy to answer. An initial base color, and then the metal value of a constant, and specular and roughness value of constant, and then the normal map that we have generated, and then displacement map, comment it. So the displacement map that we created in Photoshop. So let me take you through the process real quick of the displacement map alone. Initially, we are registering the initial positions of the vertex normals, and then we are actually multiplying it by a constant, so that the vertex gets displaced according to the displacement map. And then just for our make the value more intense, we just kept multiplying it by different multiplying nodes. And since we used a bigger value as for the constants on tessellation multiplier and displacement multiplier, we use the object radius, so that we register the initial size of the object. So because of that, if you notice that we used a tessellation factor of 250 first initially, but right now we are using only 0.03, which again gives us the same result. So object radius is a key factor here. So these are the two important nodes that we used in the displacement map. And another important thing is we actually enabled the tessellation under material node as flat tessellation. We just change this option here. Now it's time for a quick tip, guys. So we have successfully created the PBR material here. The thing is, we can actually replace the textures, that is your texture, your normal map, and your displacement map, with a different texture. So, and you just get the same result. So you can just make use of this one material and make a copy of it, and get the results really quick. So actually you can do this using the material instance, but since we have not created everything in parameters, we're not going to use that for now. I'll talk about material instancing in a different video, but for now I'm just going to copy and paste the same material. So what I'm going to do is just right click, or I guess just Control C and Control V. Yeah, just rename this one as I'm going to use a brick texture here. So it's going to be material brick. So I'm going to import. So I've got a couple of textures here. So I've got ambient occlusion brick, a displacement brick, normal map, and the texture itself. So I'm just going to import all these things in right now. Now where is my brick? This is my brick material. Double click and it gets opened here. Now real quick, select this texture sample, go to your texture, material expression texture base. So under texture, just select this drop down and change this one to, I guess it is texture brick. Yeah, T brick. So click on it and go to my normal map, select it, change this one to normal brick, and go to displacement map, change this one texture to, where is DP? Yeah, DP brick, displacement brick. And in this case we have one more map, that is your ambient occlusion map. So what I can do is I'm just going to AO brick, just drag and drop it, just going to make use of that also. Select it and just drag and drop this one into ambient occlusion. Yeah, so just move this one aside a little bit. That's it. So click on apply. Right, now we have assigned the other material, that is our stone, that is a ground material. Now I'm just going to drag and drop this one into this thing here. Now I don't see much of difference in the displacement. So this is where we're going to use our tessellation multiplier and stuff. Change the value to 0.2 and displacement multiplier to 0.3, maybe 0.5. Yeah, now you can see it just got displaced completely. So it's really cool, guys. So you just make one material and you can just make use of, you can just keep adjusting these values. You can adjust the value of the normal maps, you know, it's just the values, constant values. So click apply and save it. So that's it, guys. So that was just a quick tip on you know, you can just make one material and just make a copy of it, but you can actually use material instances, which we'll talk about that in different video. So in case if you have any questions and queries, just comment down below and I'll be happy to help you guys.